Hey everyone, Corrie here, coming in to record your July's energy update. So I am now in the second day of July. I thought I would record this a couple days ago, and it don't always come when I want it to arrive. So it's on its own schedule. So we are now. Hey everyone, Corrie here, coming in to do the energy update for July. It is July the 2nd, and so I did miss the first day with not being with the message not being ready to be recorded. I did have several attempts at recording, but the guides don't work on my schedule. They work on their own schedule. And so their scheduling is for today. So as we move into July, we have a lot of interruptions and a lot of energy that really is revealing a truth about illusions and about mirror reflections and about what's being reflected back to us and how the world is being reflected back to us. This month is a roller coaster. This month is not coming in as all sunshine and butterflies, and it's not going to end as all sunshine and butterflies. It just is not in the reality of watching and witnessing the power and responsibility and how an unhealed and on the unhealed heart and unresolved issues and how we can be so divided is reflecting to us on such a big scale that we are seeing it, witnessing it everywhere, that we are also seeing this through the alignment of the planets. Now, I would just want to say, if you're an Aries, if you're an Aries, if you're I think if you're a Libra, if you're Cancer, you are like in deep into this month. Now, everyone kind of is, but some get to kind of go through it a little, kind of skip across the water, and others trudging through the mud. And so there's a lot of retrograde energy that comes up in this month. But there's a lot of influential energy that's influencing the planets, such as, or the signs such as Aries. And how do I, because I do look up all of my chart stuff and all of my transits throughout the month and for my personal. So that's why I know for myself. But we do have a lot of retrograde energy, and there's a lot of retrograde energy that's playing out, which is going to really slow us down. But what we're seeing in this month and how this month is unfolding does really connect into a lot of unpredictability. We don't know what's next. We never really do know what's next, but we really don't know what's next. There is things that are happening or that are transpiring that are asking us to pay attention. So one of the things that's been coming up for me for so long now, even in my yearly, even in like when I did my yearly, when I've been doing my monthlies, I keep seeing like massive earthquakes, tsunamis, those events, and we have seen those transpire. I could hear a lot of people screaming, yelling. I could see things happening at big events. And I'm not saying don't go to big events this summer, but be very cautious and be very aware in big places where there is big events that are taking place. There, because of the unpredictability and the fragility of mental stability in people based on what the propaganda is being fed to us, is that there is the possibility of really horrible things taking place. But also in there was one just happened in Mexico that happened yesterday, I believe it was, and there was 11 people massacred in an event in mass. And I know you're trying to be love and light, but there's truth with how the energy is communicating and speaking. It says this is what's possible. This is how humans respond, because our power is our action, and it's our movements. It's what moves us. And so how it's influencing us, it depends on where our heads are and where our hearts are. And so healing is why healing is such a priority in our lives and our health, because on a micro, on a small scale, the things that we don't resolve becomes the things that we either take out on others, or we create enemies, or we get into unnecessary arguments and fights and disagreements. We can turn against each other. And so on a big scale, on a world scale, this becomes cults, becomes cult-like behavior. It becomes dogma that 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 has this pursuit of being only one way to be right, and that sense of righteousness and all the things that can happen in a negative way, but it can also be a positive. And so due to all the negative that is being activated and being and influential in getting people to respond in a negative way, it's also igniting the light. It's also igniting the light in people to do better, to be better in another arena. But there is never so much. News don't give attention to the good things that are happening. It pays more attention to the dark. But the darkness that happens, the things that happen when people go dark, is such havoc, because it just taints and hurts people's lives. That is like a ripple effect, a chain effect, a ripple effect of things happening. And so this is possible over big events in the summer. So being aware of your surroundings, looking around, noticing things that are that are not normal. Trust your intuition. If you feel like, oh, I don't know why I don't want to go, and you shouldn't go, don't go. Had to change spots. And so, yeah, just being, aware of your environments, paying attention, looking around, anything that seems out of character. And it's not to live in fear. I think that's the big thing, but to recognize that there is a lot of possibility. There's high risk and high possibilities too, with the energy that we have, that has been growing and has been amplified, of there being some sort of like terrorist attack or something big transpiring. It's so in the energy that I can feel this anxious anxiety feeling, knowing that it's not mine, it's not tied to me personally, it's there. I get it. I get where it's coming from. It is just flowing through. And so those are real possibilities right now. At especially big events. I don't know why a bigger event, but I just keep like hearing people screaming, running type of thing. So some sort of big event is what it feels like to me. And we always say, when we see it, we don't draw, we don't give it more of what it doesn't need. We send more light into it, and we ask for the guides and the angels to block it from happening, to intercept it, to interfere in anything that's about to take place that's going to be not of our highest good, that's going to be harmful and hurtful. If there's any way to stop it from happening. It could be a foiled plan, us hearing about a foiled plan, hearing about like some sort of attempts, but being caught and discovering that it's not that somehow it was stopped in its tracks from taking place. That's very possible. Now back to the earthquakes, and I know I'm starting off with not very good updates, but it's like big, massive quakes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and it's like we are being told that we are responsible for this, like as the everyday people. No, we are not. There's things that are happening underneath this earth, inside of this ball of earth, that is creating like an underground world. And it's really happening. I don't know how, don't know why. It's like, but I know I do have some idea what it's for. And it's like creating some sort of like, I just see bunkers, everybody's bunkers. It's like bunkers, like some sort of like world being created kind of in front of our eyes. And I just remember a few years ago, me telling a friend of mine, like I could see all the underground ants working away at things. And I thought it was for our highest good and for it to help us. And now I don't, I mean, there is an underground world that's like working on our behalf for the everyday people, but there's another group of ants that is not working for the everyday people. And so there's a lot of this energy. There's a lot of these things that are happening that are causing severe problems on Earth itself. And it got nothing to do with the everyday people. And as I was traveling through and seeing all of this, it becomes clear. And then all of a sudden, I hear things, start to hear things about it. So I feel like it's some sorts of validation that's coming in around it. I don't go dig deep for things. But there is the possibility, and I don't know if this would be July, August, but some sort of big event of like maybe in a big populated area is what I'm seeing. Maybe in a big populated area, something is happening. And how I see it is I see lines of fire traveling through all of these cracks. And that's the way I see it. And I can feel it. And it's this thought of get to higher ground, get to higher ground, get to higher ground. Now, these are all the big things that are out there. A few days ago, I was in a meditation, or I was traveling, I guess. And I had all of these scenes flipping by really quickly. And all of a sudden I was over a desert area and I could see some rocket coming from like the side of a mountain. It was like something coming from the side of a mountain, like a door opening and something is coming out and something is being launched. So there is like, we do have all of these powerful, influential, negative, that could have a negative impact upon us that are possible through this energy that is here right now. It's real. It could really have big impacts upon us. But on the other side of this, it is also the opportunity for there to be big changes in direction, big changes in plans, for there to be when voices are trying to do something that is right, the voices to go against it get louder and louder and louder. And so it is a sense of a revolt, a revolution, a revelation, and where there can be a big divine interception. And so when things feel as if it is just about to hit that tipping or that breaking point of where something could go terribly wrong, something can also go really right. So miracles can unfold. So it is the energy that also can bring in miracle energy. But this month on a micro, bringing all of that in and bringing it into us and bringing it into how it affects us within, is that it is the period of time of where your veils of illusions around the stories you've been telling yourself, the things that you just keep accepting that you no longer can accept, is no longer acceptable. And you just can't keep accepting the things that you've made acceptable, the things that have been okay. You may start to, the things that you may have been finding out, or the things that you have found out, you now can't hide from. We can't hide from these new revolutions, these revelations that we've been having, these new truths. We can't go back to sleep once you're awake. Once you're awake, and you can't go back to sleep. When we look at the spiritual world, it's not this kumbaya. It's not there's some big moment of coming in and extracting us and lifting up the good and leaving the bad on earth. That's not what it is. It is this awareness within ourselves that we become more consciously aware of how powerful our thoughts are and how we are so influenced by our own mind's ability. And so through the mirror, if you really truly can crash the mirror, break the mirror, move beyond the self. And it is breaking up with self. I cannot express this enough. It's in every one of my books. It's in everything that I write, that I've ever said. I'm like, there is a self that is beyond every bit of the self that you have created. The mind is filled with construct of programming and conditioning. What we have been conditioned to believe, what we have been conditioned to accept, And to more than exist is to really, truly travel deep enough in silence until all of who you are fades away and there is nothing left but time and space. And it's just, so it's like everything that we think we are is everything we're not. Everything we think we are as a society, everything you think your government is, everything you think your, you know, your systems are, is you realize there is more to the story. And so there's this underlying truth that is coming up. And it's the thing that you may be in a prep of saying, I'm done. I'm leaving my relationships. I'm walking away. I'm no longer doing this. I'm done. And then something stops you in your tracks. And you're like, what? I'm not. No, it's because what has been programming you to keep going and going and going and doing and doing and doing towards the thing that you think is probably the best thing for you to do is this almost like divine intervention. It's where our own spirit, our own soul just kind of puts the hand up on the door and says, are you sure you want to walk through that door? Are you sure you want to, are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure you want to take that on? Are you sure you want to go that direction? And if you say yes, 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 absolutely, the door opens and you go. And you face the consequences and you go through all the things and you may look back with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. If I would have only, if I had slowed down and took a breath, if I had to not been thinking through my past, if I had not been allowing myself to be so influenced by my past experiences, if I had not been so caught up in my identified self, if I had have healed the unresolved, if I had not been living through my wounds, if I had of listened to the bigger I, if I had not been so reactive and so responsive, if I had have questioned and become curious, what would I have done differently? How would I have shown up differently? What would I have done differently? And so here's our opportunity to do all this before we bust down these doors, before we leave. And so there's these moments, these experiences that are just inviting us to really look at our lives and to look in at our lives through different eyes than we've been looking at before. And so there is, and I mean, I can take this on a real deep level and really go to that place of where the voice of silence brought me all the way to see the eyes of God. But that's a deeper level. And we all have to reach these levels on our own. And so not everyone is here to go to those levels. Not everyone's here to wake up to those thoughts. And it's okay. It's okay. Wherever you are is your invocation. And wherever you're living in your story, in your life, that's your invocation. Whatever your belief is, whatever you're believing in, and whatever you have faith in, it's okay. It's okay. It's where we are. But the thing that's really inviting us this month is to have enough faith and courage in this self to question that which holds and binds us. That which has its most massive hold on you is the things that you're being asked to question, to really dive a little bit deeper into, to go a little bit deeper. And as the journey to more than existing, and I share my life experiences, I don't share the woo-woo part of it so much. It's because it's the woo-woo aspect of it, the out there part of it is very personal. And you can put a lot of expectations up on yourself, and you can create an image, you can create through your imagination that you have been there, that you have been to this place that I'm speaking of. And it was so easy to convince yourself you've been there. But have you really been there? And with no previous experience or knowledge and knowing, I've been taken to places that are unimaginable. because I would never have been able to imagine them in my wildest dreams. And so where mystical, magical, folklore, fairy tale exist is a truth that is really inviting us to wake up to see the truth behind the stories. And that is the archetypes, the players of the games, and the characters that we play. And so this is why the healing and the resolution and the revolutions are really coming up, and why we're being invited to really explore on a micro, because the energy on the macro is influencing us in such a way that we are becoming consumed, overinvested in everything else that's happening. Now, is there powerful forces of energy on July the 4th and 5th? I had to ask the guides this. I had to ask God this. Is there a powerful force on July the 4th, 5th? And yes, there is. Is it things that can really change the projection of the world and our lives? Yes, it is. What could be the consequences of this? And the consequences is unknown. And so we don't know the consequences to our actions until we take action. And sometimes we have to take action not knowing how things are going to turn out. So this energy, even though on some degrees, on some levels, in some conversations, it's the talk that the world, that we are about to enter into a world that is unknown to us, many of us. We are at a place we have not been in the placement. I think it's like Uranus in Gemini that hasn't been here for like 87 years. So many of us have never experienced these times that we're in again, with the threats of such a big war. But we've been at war, and we've had wars for how long? War has never stopped on Earth. War has never stopped. War has been continual because propaganda keeps war alive, and it has a purpose. And so the same thing with the war within us. It stays alive because we don't get the fact that we are here to sign that agreement with peace. And our souls came to be some sort of part of making that agreement with peace. That is in my last two videos, my last two recordings that I did. You can go back and listen to those as well. And it's about the agreement with peace that Archangel Gabriel gave me all the information about. But the opportunities that we have right now to take action towards starting something new, beginning something new, not pausing and waiting, going, oh, I got to wait to see what's going to happen in our world outside. I got to wait and see if we're going to go through a big financial crash. I got to wait. But if we all wait, the financial crash happens. If we all wait, no new business starts. Then, only a few businesses are there because everyone else stops living. So this is the period of time of where our revolution, our revolt, is to live. Our revolting is to be alive, is to experience our life. It is to get out, to mingle, to be friends with each other, to connect with each other, to love each other, to be good to each other. It's our opportunity to start new businesses, to really embody our relationships, to put off things such as getting married or coming together in a union in a relationship. Because, how many times does somebody say, like, oh, well, I've never really thought about getting married, or I've never thought about being in a relationship because I'm always wondering like what life is going to bring for me. And so is the ego saying, oh, well, I'm just waiting to see if there's better. So if there's always that thought of, oh, well, there might be something better, then you might not deserve what you already have. Right. And so truth. And so it does give us, this is a powerful, positive influence. And like I said, I had to give you all the things that are possible in this energy. And I can give in both. I have to give the light and the dark. And to really truly exist in a neutral place is because I have seen what everything really is. And because now I've seen it, what it all is, it's like I can call bullshit on so much, but I also know the power of the divine, and I know the power of God to influence and to be a change, and what that is. And so all growing up, I just remember always hearing, oh, you could never see into the eyes of God. Like, there's no way to see into the eyes of God. If you see into the eyes of God, then, you're dead, or you're going to hell, or whatever the frick that is. And yeah, that's it. You're dead. You're dying. And, or beyond the veils. If you can never pass beyond this veil, you have to be, that means it's death, right? You're dead if you go on. And I'm like, who says? Who says? Who says I can't? Who says? And so, do I just accept the can'ts? Do I just accept, because you say I can't, I just have to accept that? Because you say I shouldn't, I should just accept that, right? And so I've always questioned the norm, or that which is easily just acceptable. Why do I have to do that? Well, because I said. But who said? Who told you? Who told you? And where does that come from? And so that's not rebellious, that's curiosity. And that curiosity is the part of ourselves that's being activated to open us up to not to be afraid to step into something because we're more afraid of failing or afraid of something going wrong. But what if something goes terrifically right? What if something really good really unfolds? So will we see kind of the worst of humanity in the next little bit? Yeah, but will we also see the best of humanity? Absolutely, we will. We will see the worst. We see those who take advantage of horrible situations. We will see everything. You'll see every character in every story ever appear, because they're always there. But every one of those archetypes, every one of those characters also exist in us. And it depends on what story we activate, depends on who we feel we have to be. And so this month is asking us to heal, is asking us to resolve the unresolved, is asking us to create and make peace with what we cannot change, is asking us to begin to put as much emphasis into seeing, making visible, being a part of the everyday world, the everyday people that are in our lives, as we have in politicians, celebrities, video games, all of those things that become the distractions. Is we have to stop looking at all of the distractions and start resolving and healing that which distracts us, and moving into a place of peace, moving into a place of being active and less reactive to the negative, but being actively living in our lives, to begin to be happy for people instead of being envious of people, to begin to celebrate each other, to celebrate wins, and to celebrate yourself, to see how far you have come. Because if you're here right now, man, you have accomplished a lot in life. You have gotten to right here at this very place. Take a big look around at your life. And there's always going to be that world that's going to try to suck the joy out of your moments and out of your experiences. I experience it every day, and it's not intentional from people so much as, oh, are you sure you could afford that? That's going to cost you so much. Oh, that's very nice. I really like that. Glad you did that. But, oh, that's just going to that's going to take such work, or, oh, that's going to, and so it's all that things that trigger doubting yourself. What this month is here to do in the biggest picture is to inspire us to be better than the lowest, the dirtiest, the messiest, the rudest, the unkindest, the cruelest, to be better than all of that. And if we can be one step up, we are doing better. It is to be better than that which promotes violence, unkind, cruelty, torture, treating one less than another, all in the name of any sort of religion, faith, or any sort of dogma, belief, anything. That there is a unity in divine expression and divine love, and there is to be a spiritual interruption, a rise in the power of the spirit and the power of the divine. And that the influence, when we see such negative influences happening, this is when people are in need of something. This is when people are looking for hope and faith, and to know that times are going to get better again, that life is going to get better again. And I can guarantee you, I have seen on the other side what is possible. And there's a magical, beautiful world of where it can truly include us really seeing each other as equals, seeing each other as being able to coexist and to live, but also to call up and out the things that we are getting blamed for as everyday people, such as the climate, such as those things. Do you not know how much energy it's taking to run the big machines, to create the big AIs, to create the big things, but then going to plant shit on our earth that tells us that because we're consuming so much? Question, be curious, ask those questions. You might not like the answers, you might not like what you find, but their journey's worth taking. So that's on a big scale. On a small scale, is asking us to really question our own self, question our programming, to really learn the power of breaking up with the self that we are so god darn determined to hold on to, that tells another that they're not capable, they're not good enough, they can't do it because they're not good enough for us, they can't do this for me. How many times in my life do I see people say, oh, I want to come see you, but I can't tell anyone I'm coming to see you because the people I know don't believe in you. Or, oh, you did this for me and you helped me, but I can't tell people that you helped me because the people I know think you're this or think you're that. Let them think it. Let them believe it. Let them think it. I don't care. And so the more that we begin to care more about really how we feel and what we're feeling, and we start to care less about what makes us acceptable, that's another big part of what this month is giving to us, and that helps us heal our hearts. So we have a lot of things that are possible, a lot of things that are happening, and I pray that a good portion of what is possible, it doesn't transpire. But this is the opportunity for there to be a great change. We are in a time of great change, and great changes can lead to good changes, great changes, fantastic changes. It can be the things that wakes us up. Sometimes the world needs a shake up, to shake their heads, to smarten the F up, to stop being a part of the insanity and the craziness and getting lost in losing ourselves in living our lives just to entertain other people, to be only a puppet on a string, to be any of those things, to cut the puppet strings, to really begin living out our role as being a part of the peacekeepers upon this earth. And it's not by keeping peace, by keeping quiet. That's not the peace. It's by making the agreement with peace that we will no longer be at war with ourselves, with our choices, with our decisions, that we recognize Jezebel, the darkness. We recognize Lucifer's energy. We recognize the darkness, that we recognize it there, but we also recognize our own darkness and ugliness that can happen when we feel bitter, resentful, angry, feel abandoned, disheartened. All of those things, they rob us of our light and our joy. And when we can resolve and heal those aspects of ourselves, we no longer have the mad scientists. We no longer have the geeks becoming these characters that are here to kind of take over the world. So those parts of ourselves, what keeps taking over my world? What are the weeds that keep infesting my life? And what are the things that were called weeds that were never weeds? That's us. Us everyday people are not really the problem. And so really paying attention to how much we can be influenced, but it's really opening up those veils of illusion and recognizing the power of knowledge. Knowledge in the wrong hands, knowledge in the hands in the hands of shadows can lead to a lot of damage. Wisdom found in the voice of found through the voice of silence can change the world. And I know from experience how my world, my life has changed based on me really truly breaking up the construct of the mind's ability to create those narratives and those stories, and breaking up with the me I thought I should be, or the me I thought I was, and resolving the wounds and healing the unhealed really truly changes everything. And there's so much more I can share, but this is what we have. July is going to be a powerful, powerful month this way. Now, if I were to bring this in smaller again, smaller again, be aware of getting into unnecessary arguments, disagreements, and fights. Be aware of your speed. Be aware of the rushes. The world is going to slow us down. The things that you want to get done right now may not get done. Don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. This is happening because of a lot of the retrograde energy. And the retrograde energy is giving us the opportunity for introspection and for perspectives, and for us to be able to strengthen and grow before we move out and into what it is that we know in our hearts that we're here to accomplish and do. So grace is an important part of this month. Wisdom versus knowledge. Knowledge is built on a lot of opinions and a lot of perspectives that have space and room to be questioned. The problem is most don't want to be questioned. I always say, the older I get, the less I know. The more I've traveled, the more I've done this work and traveled deep, I know way less than I ever thought I ever knew. Now I know nothing, like literally nothing. And so the ego, the unhealthy aspects of the ego are in question, and revolving or growing and amplifying the healthy aspects of the ego, because we need the ego. The ego is a part of our ability to be motivated, to be inspired, to give us the sense of moving with our inner power, working with our sacral, our solar plexus energy. Emotional intelligence, emotionally evolving, emotional maturity is the thing that changes how we exist in all of our relationships. The language, the wording, all of this becomes more and more and more. Self-actualization is what I do, and in more than existing. And you're going to hear more and more and more about self-actualization, about inner child healing, about inner young adult healing, and about the power of healing as we are moving into a powerful healing energy and a healing time. It's going to be interesting. We're in very interesting times. So be interested, be curious, be an observer, and really pay attention to all that is there. And there's a lot of warps happening, space and time energy stuff is coming up big time. You may get your days mixed up, your times mixed up. There's a lot happening in that wheelhouse. It's almost like time is speeding up, then going backwards. I think I've done something 2 days ago, and I'm like, but I did it 2 days ago, and now I'm doing it again. There's just a lot of little glitchy things that are taking place. I know this one's kind of all over the place. That's what I have for you for the month of July. But like I said, be aware of the influences. Don't be so easily influenced or led down those rabbit holes that take you to the place of where you're not questioning, but you're just accepting. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful month, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.